Good evening. I'm Kristine Johnson.
I'm Dick Brennan in for Maurice Dubois. After months of intense campaigning, today is the day America decides.
And polling locations across the tri-state area are open right now. The polls showing a race between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris as a toss-up in several key swing states. And the first in-person votes, well, they've already been tallied. The tiny community of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, actually resulted in a 3-3 tie for former President Trump and Vice President Harris.
Many polling places in our area saw long lines today despite strong early voter turnout. From this morning until right now, voters young and old are showing up. Some people waited hours while others breezed through.
Waited 3 hours. I got here like 10:20. It was just crazy. It was hot in there. It felt like a sauna.
I feel really good, and I think it's really important to get out there and vote.
I feel better that I voted, but I am still stressed about the outcome, and I'm nervous that it's as close as it is.
A major milestone already hit. The New York City Board of Elections says 2 million votes have been made across the 5 boroughs.
And if you haven't voted, you still have time across the tri-state, with polls closing at 8 p.m. in New Jersey and Connecticut, and then at 9 p.m. in New York. Now, remember, you only need to be in line before the polls close to cast a ballot.
Beyond the White House, this election will play an important role in determining control of Congress. Several congressional districts spanning from Long Island to New Jersey up into the Hudson Valley will all factor into the balance of power.
They sure will. And we have live team coverage this evening with reporters spread out to bring you up to date on all of the races and what voters are saying, from our local races to the presidential campaign. Bradley Blackburn is at Trump headquarters tonight, and we'll check in with him in just a moment. But let's begin our coverage here at 5 with Natalie Brennan. She is live at Vice President Harris's headquarters at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Natalie.
Kristine, Dick, good to join you. According to the Harris campaign, the vice president is in good spirits, trying to remain calm, energetic, and optimistic tonight. But her campaign also says more than anyone else, she recognizes how close this race is. And that's why she spent the day on the phone doing radio interviews in key battleground states, really focused on trying to make sure any late-breaking undecided voters or her supporters turned out if they haven't voted already. The campaign has said it feels confident about those late-breaking undecided voters, as well as key demographics such as women and Latino voters. Kristine, Dick?
Natalie, I have to ask you, everybody looks at the tea leaves and says, oh, the vice president looks confident, the former president looks confident. Are we getting any of those tea leaves today? Because people love to talk about it.
Yeah, there's a lot being looked at the early vote and what that could potentially show. The Trump campaign saying it's feeling very confident about who has turned out in that early vote, particularly men, people who don't vote as often, a surge in rural voters, according to the Trump campaign. But again, the Harris campaign really trying to mobilize groups that have expressed support for her. That includes suburban women. Also mobilize the youth vote. We are on the college campus, Howard University, where the vice president herself attended. This is kind of a full circle moment for her and her campaign. She says the first office that she ran for was for freshman class representative here at Howard. And now here we are on election night of her historic presidential campaign. She says this campus has really shaped her, and she and her campaign have spent a lot of time trying to mobilize young voters and also some non-traditional voters, trying to get them to turn out in the final hours of this campaign.
All right, Natalie Brennan reporting from us, where the vice president will be watching tonight's results. Natalie, thank you. And by the way, security is tight where Natalie is at Howard. Security crews and workers have been setting up fencing around the perimeter of the university, limiting access from nearby streets. Recently, the Democratic nominee went to Howard actually to practice for her debate against former President Donald Trump, and it's also where she launched her 2020 bid. If elected, Harris would be the first president to attend a historically black college or university, in addition to being the first female to hold the office. Now, Vice President Harris says that she voted by mail in her home state of California.
And former President Trump cast his ballot today in Palm Beach County, Florida, along with his wife, Melania. Although he was convicted of 34 felony counts in a Manhattan court, he can still vote. The former president will stay in Florida tonight. The Republican nominee says he plans to watch returns at his Mar-a-Lago home. He'll then head to watch his watch party at the Palm Beach Convention Center. Elon Musk is among those who will be with Trump tonight.
And as we mentioned, Bradley Blackburn is covering the Trump campaign for us tonight.
He joins us live from Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach. Bradley, how are people feeling right now about the former president's chances?
Well, Dick, Kristine, supporters are starting to arrive here at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. You can see them behind me. That's the podium where former President Trump could speak sometime around 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. Supporters are optimistic, and they're really echoing what former President Trump said today after he appeared, after he voted in Palm Beach, just a few miles from here. He was confident of a win, and he was optimistic about what he expects to see tonight. But interestingly, guys, he was also reflective about this journey in the last 721 days. That's how long it's been since he announced his candidacy. And in his appearances in different swing states over the last few days, he's in some ways seemed fatigued, perhaps, or tired in this last stretch, reflective, and he even said he was sad today to see this end. So this is a different side of former President Trump, but he is coming in optimistic about the results tonight, but we'll have to see what happens when the polls start to close.
Bradley, have we heard anything more about what the former president is saying about tonight's results? Will he accept what the polls actually read?
Kristine, that's a crucial question, given everything the country went through in 2020. Former President Trump today said that he would be the first to accept the results of a fair election. But then he's, in typical fashion, given different messages on this. He's expressed some skepticism and concern about cheating in Philadelphia. He posted on Truth Social just a short time ago that there's talk of cheating in Philadelphia. That's one of the states, of course, Pennsylvania, where all of this could, where everything could be on the line tonight. So, you know, and he also telegraphed that it may take time, he says, for the results to come in. So I think it would be surprising if he were to accept a defeat tonight, Dick and Kristine, just based on what he said today.
All right, Bradley Blackburn in West Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you for that update.
If you've been following this election, then you know control of the U.S. House of Representatives is at stake in about 24 close races, including New York's Congressional District 17.
Republican incumbent Mike Lawler and his Democratic challenger Mondaire Jones have been in really a slugfest. Tony Aiello spent time with the candidates. He joins us live from a polling place in West Nyack in Rockland County. Tony.
Steady turnout here at Clarkstown Reformed Church. So the district here, New York 17, it covers all of Rockland and Putnam counties, northern Westchester and southeastern Dutchess counties. And the Democrats are desperate to win back this district after a stunning loss 2 years ago. The two candidates are both personable 30-something natives of Rockland County.
20 years ago, Mondaire Jones and Mike Lawler were standout seniors at Rockland County high schools. Today, they're fighting to represent Rockland and the rest of the 17th Congressional District in Congress. Early voting was strong. Election day turnout has been steady. Voters have many different issues on their minds.
The border.
Immigration, number one, and the economy, close number two.
Gun control is a big one for us. Yeah. You know, the school violence is scary as a parent.
The economy, that's 100% one of my biggest issues. As I am in college right now, I'm trying to set up my future, and I would like to have lower prices and aim at being able to afford a future.
Abortion, women's rights.
I spoke with both candidates recently and asked for their closing pitch to voters.
I've been rated the fourth most bipartisan member of Congress. We've passed roughly a dozen bills through the House, 5 of which have been signed into law in a divided government. So we need to reduce taxes, we need to reduce regulations to create a vibrant, growing economy.
The reason that prices are so high is because of corporate greed. I grew up in Section 8 housing and on food stamps, so I've always known what it's like to struggle in this broken economy. This is not your typical election. One member of Congress from the 17th Congressional District will determine the majority in Congress next January.
So Mondaire Jones has really great name recognition here in this district. He represented the district for 2 years until he was impacted by redistricting. Republican insiders tell me Mike Lawler has built an amazing ground game to get out his supporters. He won 2 years ago by just 1,800 votes. Live in West Nyack, Tony Aiello, CBS News New York.
All right, Tony, thanks very much.
From Rockland County now, let's go to Long Island, where there are a couple of very tight congressional races there.
Carolyn Gussoff has been covering the 4th Congressional District on Nassau County's South Shore. Republican Anthony D'Esposito fighting to keep his seat in a tight race with Democrat Laura Gillen. Carolyn joins us now with more. Carolyn.
Well, this is a district, Dick, that has bounced from red to blue for several decades and then back again to red in 2022. It's considered one of the 43 House races that are most competitive in the battle for the House majority. Laura Gillen versus Anthony D'Esposito, the rematch.
I think that we're going to see Republicans do very well across the island.
We think people in this district are ready for a change. They're ready for someone who's going to go to Washington, reach across the island.
The two have butted heads before. Gillen was the first Democratic Hempstead town supervisor in a century, and D'Esposito on the board of America's largest township. Now it's national issues.
The border's an issue, crime's an issue, quality of life, cost of living.
He told us he would get us our SALT deduction back. He's been in the majority for 2 years, and he's failed.
The issues determining Long Island suburban votes.
Women's rights, abortion rights in particular, and democracy at large.
So I would say immigration and crime.
Character, honesty.
A lot of people who work, 12, 15 hours a day, and they can barely make rent.
Long Islanders helped flip the House in 2022 and can do it again. The 4th District is the most diverse congressional suburban district in New York.
These are the so-called swing suburban districts, the purple places that typically decide who gets the keys to the White House and who gets the gavels in Congress.
55-year-old Gillen from Rockville Center is an attorney and mother of 4. 42-year-old D'Esposito of Island Park is a former cop who led the charge to oust George Santos, but now fends off his own ethics issues, lavish meal spending, and hiring his girlfriend's daughter and a woman he was having an affair with.
He's engaged in cronyism and nepotism and peddled corruption out of every office that he's held.
There has been zero ethics violated. People do hire people that they know.
And the 4th Congressional District also has the highest Democratic enrollment of any congressional district on Long Island. But there is a significant number of blanks, people not enrolled in any party. And last time around, 2 years ago, D'Esposito beat Gillen by 10,000 votes. We'll have the latest all night here from Nassau Democratic headquarters. Kristine, Dick, back now to you.
Okay, Carolyn, going to be a busy night there. We'll check in with you again later. Thank you.
And coming up in the next half hour, we'll take a closer look at more local races. That includes New York's 1st Congressional District on Long Island. Republican incumbent Nick LaLota facing challenger John Avlon. Depending on the winner, it could decide who controls the U.S. House for the next 2 years.
And we'll also have a live report from New Jersey, where voters are electing a new U.S. Senator. Democrat Andy Kim and Republican Curtis Bashaw are looking to fill the seat left open by former Senator Bob Menendez, who resigned following a federal bribery conviction.
And it's not too late to vote. Another look at the polling hours. You still have time across the tri-state area. Polls closing at 8 p.m. in New Jersey and Connecticut and 9 p.m. in New York. And remember, you only need to be in line before polls close to cast a ballot.
And streaming on CBS News New York tonight, we will broadcast live from our state-of-the-art AR/VR studio. Watch America Decides election night in New York at 9 p.m. And that, of course, will be followed by the news at 11 o'clock.
And you can find all of our election coverage online at cbsnewyork.com.